All right, now maybe this will work, and hopefully all you guys will catch up with me. My co-star is not cooperating, so he needs to get down. Sorry about that. For some reason, on the scheduled stream, it didn't want to start, so I had to start a new one. And maybe all you up there's a couple of people jumping in. Hey, Angela. Hi, Caesar. Anyway, happy Friday, everybody. Timothy, how are you doing? Glad you could make it. I had another stream started, and for some reason it didn't want to start, so I had to start over. And here we are. That's the way YouTube works. Anyway, happy Friday, and welcome to Let's Talk. I'm thinking about doing this maybe on a monthly basis and just picking a subject about my Disney travels. And people show up and they can talk about some of their Disney travels. So today's subject is going to be Disney World hotels. As some of you know me, one of my things on my bucket list is to stay at every Disney hotel at least one time. And so far, we've spent one or more nights at 11 of the different resorts. So I thought we could start off by talking about some of the things that I know about the resorts and my likes and dislikes and stuff like that. So anyway, first resort I want to talk about isn't really a hotel. It's a campground, basically. And that's Fort Wilderness. I've stayed at Fort Wilderness on 3 different occasions, twice in a tent, and once we stayed in the wilderness cabins. The first time was in 1975 and went with some friends and stayed in a tent. And one thing that was really cool about that trip was the railroad still was there. And the train would take you from one end of Fort Wilderness to the other. And that's depending on where you were in Fort Wilderness, you could take the train to the lake and catch a boat to Magic. Hey, Big Al. Or you could take the train up to the parking lot and catch a bus. They didn't have any internal buses. Probably the best time was after I got married and had a family. And we went down in, what was it, Lori, 93? I'm going to bill for president. I don't think I'd ever get elected. And stayed in the wilderness cabins. That was our first trip down as a family. And the cabins were just fabulous. It's camping without camping, sort of. Had a living room, kitchen, full kitchen. In the living room, there was a couch. There was also a Murphy bed that our daughter slept on, and there was a bathroom and a bedroom. The cool thing about it was every day, housekeeping would come by and they would run the dishwasher for us. So that's just like one of the little extra perks that we had at the cabins. Fort Wilderness is huge. I don't know how many campsites there are. And back a long time ago, the campsites used to be a little more secluded prior to all of the big RVs that go now. You could pitch a tent or be in a pop-up, and you couldn't see another campsite from yours. It just looked like you were out in the woods. And it was just really cool. And of course, we'd always walk down to the beach at night and watch the electrical light parade, which is still running after all these years. Some pretty good food. We love eating at Trails End, but that will be for another week when we are talking about restaurants, I guess. We'll stick to the hotels. Our next hotel was, actually our first hotel after Fort Wilderness was Caribbean Beach. Again, it was a big resort. Disney resorts are just like huge. Nice room. We have stayed in President. You guys are really being funny. Uh, Pretty nice rooms. We stayed in all of the moderates at one time or another. Uh, and it was really funny. Lori, I like to tell the story on Lori that every time we stayed at a new hotel, that was her favorite hotel. Sorry, Ross, we had some technical difficulties and I had to start a new stream. For some reason, the one I had scheduled wouldn't go live. It would just sit there and say going live and then never do it. Anyway, so Caribbean Beach was pretty cool. Had a fabulous pool. Of course, one thing about us, it's funny. We've been going to Disney World since 1993. We go usually every year, sometimes twice a year. And I don't think we've gone swimming yet. Too busy riding rides and going to restaurants, I guess. Another couple of other things on the bucket list is to eat in every restaurant at least one time. And I would love to be able to say that I've ridden every ride, but I'm not really a roller coaster person, so I'm not sure I'll make that. But Caribbean Beach was a lot of fun. Nice walk all the way around the lake. The next one we went to has changed its name. And yeah, Timothy, that's been a few years ago. It was Dixie. Hey, Rob, how are you? Thanks for joining us. It's Dixie Landings when we stayed there. It was pretty cool. I wasn't one of my favorites. Again, a pretty good sized resort. The food court was really good. The theming didn't strike me. But it will always be Dixie Landings to me. I don't care how many times they change the name. In fact, in my pin collection, I hadn't started collecting pins when we stayed at Dixie Landings. And then they changed the name on me. So I had to go out and search eBay until I could find a pin that had Dixie Landings on it. The next moderate we stayed at was French Quarter, or it was called just Port Orleans in those days. And it's probably my favorite of all of the resorts. I love the theming. It's not a very big resort, so you could. We were staying. Our room was all the way in the back, and it was still a very short walk up to the main building. We wanted to fill our mugs or something. We had a room that was right on the river. It was just really fun. Maybe I would like New Orleans if I could ever make it down there or something. And then after New Orleans, I guess I'll tell a story on my wife. Hopefully she won't get mad if she's still in here. Oh, yep, she's still in here. In 2003, we'd been going to Disney for 10 years. And we had talked about becoming DVC members. And we had never done the sales pitch or anything. We did have some friends that were members, and they talked to us, and they said that we should call their sales rep and see if we'd like it. So Lori and I hemmed and hawed and talked, and I said, sweetheart, why don't you call and get some information? I told her this on the phone from work. And she says, okay, I'll do that. She's a good secretary that way. And so I get home from work that night, and she had bought it. So I said, you what? And I tease her about it to this day, that I don't ever tell her to get information on something because she'll buy it. Anyway, I'm sorry, sweetie. That all being said, we love DVC. It afforded us much more opportunity to go to Disney World because the points back then compared to today were very inexpensive. And we bought the minimum, 150 points. But that allowed us to start going once a year instead of having to save for a couple of years, sometimes between trips. And so as part of the membership deal, they would give us a $15 a point discount on our points if we would agree not to use any points the very first year. So I said, yeah, that's a good deal. I'm kind of cheap sometimes. So we did that. So our first trip to a DVC resort was in 2005 in January. And unknown to us, it was marathon weekend. But Beach Club was our home resort. And we pulled into the Beach Club, not really knowing, thanks, Al, not really knowing what to expect. A deluxe hotel is such a major difference from the moderates that we had been at previously. So we pulled in, and of course, back then, as one of the DVC perks was you get valet parking for free. So we pulled in and we gave our suitcases to the bell services, and we let them valet park, and we like walk into the lobby and we're, oh my God. Beach Club is just beautiful. The coolest thing about Beach Club is it's like a 5-minute walk to Epcot, which is really cool if food and wine's going on, because you could just run over there and grab a snack almost anytime you think about it. Hey, Mary Leon, how are you? But we stayed in studio accommodations for that first trip. Studios are really nice. Got a nice bathroom, a small kitchenette, fridge, microwave. Got a queen size bed, a couch that pulls out into a queen size bed. And Bill, show us the Disney stuff behind you. Oh, well, that will be an episode for another time, Al. You wouldn't believe how much stuff is in that cabinet. In fact, there's some things in that cabinet that if we can ever get to 300 subscribers, we're going to give away. Hint, hint. Oh, you don't see that very often. I've got 7 people watching and 7 thumbs up. I am proud of you guys. Anyway, we love Beach Club. It's our home resort. But oddly enough, until recently, that wasn't the hotel we stayed at the most. After that Beach Club trip, we went to Saratoga Springs. It was brand new the year we were there. I don't think the room we were in had ever been stayed in. But the resort just didn't strike us. It was huge, first of all. And unlike a lot of the other hotels where all of your room entrances are inside the building in like a hallway, at Saratoga, all of the entrances are outside. And the whole resort kind of felt like a moderate to us. Hey, TCA Dad, how are you? Well, at least you're listed. That's good. I understand. Working at the office? Yeah, put the quotes around that. I mean, it was all right. The room was really nice, but it just, for some reason, didn't strike us and felt like a moderate. And we never stayed there again until this last year. Then we, the year after Saratoga, we had one moderate that we hadn't stayed at yet. And so we decided to go to Coronado. And it was, I mean, after deluxe resorts, a moderate is kind of a step down, which if anybody's ever done that, you'll understand. It was a nice resort, nice room. We had a room right on a lake, and we could stand out on the balcony and outside the door and watch wildlife in the lake. I mean, there was a heron that hung around all the time that we would just sit and watch him. And the pool was really cool. It had the pyramid and all of that stuff. But again, it's a big resort. You just like walk forever, and it's a moderate. And then we come to what has probably turned out to be our favorite resort, and that's Old Key West. Old Key West, we love the theming. Even though it's pretty big resort, it's not too bad unless you're staying all the way in the back, which we ended up doing one time. We probably, until this year, we've stayed at Old Key West more than any other. The layout of the studios is a little odd. Instead of a bed and a couch that pulls out into a bed, the studios at Old Key West have two beds, more like a regular hotel room. But they are the biggest studios of any of the, in fact, all of the rooms at Old Key West are bigger than any of the other DVC resorts. Of course, it was the original DVC resort. Pool is nice. Like I say, we don't ever go in the pool, but we like walk over and say, yeah, that's a cool swimming pool. After that, we, in order to just get some hotels that we've never stayed at, the trip after we've stayed at Key West one time was we went to and did one night at the Contemporary, and then the rest of the week at like Beach Club. And Contemporary's cool. You can walk to Magic Kingdom. You got the monorail that goes to the middle. Of course, we were in the garden wing. In fact, where the room that Josh and Jenna stayed in, or Jenna and Dale, I think Josh went home. Anyway, in the live stream last week with the Tobins, was like one section away from where our room was in the garden wing. It was very modern. We had a handicap accessible room, so it was laid out a little bit different than what you saw on Josh and Jenna's video. But you know, all of the resorts have good things and bad things about them, I guess. Contemporary's cool because of the monorail, and you can walk to Magic Kingdom. Beach Club's cool because you can walk to Epcot, and if you're ambitious, you can walk to Hollywood Studios, but that's a walk. You had to go, but you're back. Oh, I understand. You're at work. So we did Contemporary for one night. The next year, we did the same thing. We stayed in the Boardwalk Villas one night and then jumped to another hotel for the rest of the time. Boardwalk was okay. Our room was facing the pool, so it was a little, maybe not as noisy it would have been if we'd been overlooking the boardwalk. It would have been much nicer to be back towards Hollywood Studios somewhere on that side. It's okay. I mean, we've never stayed there again. It's for some reason Boardwalk was really hard to get into. The final hotel we've stayed at is Animal Kingdom Lodge. Oh yeah, you had the flu, didn't you? Animal Kingdom Lodge was just amazing. We could get up, again, we were in studio, and we could get up every morning, fix our coffee, wander out on the balcony, and just watch the animals. And I mean, that was almost better than going to the park sometimes. The restaurants at Animal Kingdom are amazing. We'd love to go back there, I think, at some time. Big news announced Riviera Resort opened. Really? I hadn't heard that, Ross. Last year, and along the way, we've managed to not stay in studios all of the time. I surprised Lori one year for our anniversary, and we went and stayed at the Beach Club and stayed in a one-bedroom accommodation. And the one bedroom if you don't count the basement in our house, a one bedroom at a Disney World hotel is like bigger than our house. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, washer and dryer, anything you need. And since it was a surprise, I did have a gift basket that was delivered. In fact, I think she still has the basket around here somewhere. It's a big basket the shape of a Mickey head filled all full of stuff. And needless to say, I surprised her. She's hard to surprise sometimes, especially this year for Christmas. We had, and I'll tell another little story on my baby. She's going to get really mad at me if I keep doing this. She, when Cargo had made the little bitty bags that she sent to Josh and Jenna, she really liked those. And so I immediately got a hold of Cargo and ordered one for her for Christmas, and picked out a Star Wars themed one. She had some Star Wars material with stormtroopers on it. And Lori loves stormtroopers. And so then, and this is like November-ish. And so then every time Lori talked to Cargo, from that point until Christmas, she kept saying that, Cargo, I really want one of those bags. Maybe we could work out some kind of a trade. And so I'm getting a hold of Cargo without her knowing it, saying, Cargo, don't. We got her the surprise for Christmas. And I told her the story on Christmas, and she got a big kick out of that. Sometimes you're hard to surprise. Anyway, that's all of the hotels that we've stayed at. Last year, we ended up staying at Beach Club only because I was waitlisted at Wilderness Lodge and at Polynesian and couldn't get into either one of them. Those two are resorts that we haven't stayed at yet. We have, I think, visited every resort except maybe one or two of the All-Stars. Pivot. That's one thing that we don't do much of anymore. All right, see you later, Laurie. We used to take time if we were done in the parks, and we would go visit a hotel just to wander around, and sometimes we'd have dinner in the food court, and just in case we want to stay there someday. So hopefully, well, this year we have a 2-bedroom booked at the Beach Club. The way the DVC works is in your home resort, you can book 11 months out, and you're pretty much guaranteed getting a reservation. And at any of the other resorts that are not your home resort, you can only book 7 months out, which gives the home resort some chance to get in there. And so this time, I think our 7-month window is like 1st of March. We're going to try to get one of the 3-bedroom grand villas at Old Key West, because we're taking a bunch of people with us. Be our first time taking a bunch of people. I think there's going to be like 7 or 8 of us. Oh, Marielle, you like Beach Club too, huh? It's a toss-up between Florida's Secretary of Defense. That's scary, Al. It's a toss-up between Beach Club and Old Key West, I think, which would be our favorites. Oh, dogs, be quiet. Andrea Huston, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So we really want to stay at Wilderness Lodge at some point. I want to stay at Poly some point. Really want to stay at the Grand Floridian. I mean, that, as you can see, that was the picture. Tone it down, doggies. I like that. That's funny. They probably wouldn't respond to that, however. Because they normally, when they get to barking, they're barking because of snowflake. Now, it's not snowing here, Ross, but they would bark if there's somebody alive and moving 3 blocks away. I got the really loud one put away in the other room. I don't even know where I was. Heavy snow, I don't want to hear that. And it's probably coming this way. We got enough snow last weekend. Everybody rocks, Al. Hashtag Big Al rocks. And I have totally lost my train of thought and have no idea where I was going with any of this. So I guess we'll just drop back 10 and punt. Or a squirrel. Yeah, there are some squirrels out there now that some of the snow's melted. Anyway, we're trying to get the 3-bedroom Grandvilla. And I will, if we can get into that one, I will definitely be posting a room tour because those rooms are unbelievable. It's 2 stories, living room, dining room, full kitchen, a laundry room. There's a bathroom downstairs, and there's a bedroom the master bedroom's downstairs. It has its own bathroom. There's 2 bedrooms upstairs, each of them have their own bathroom. There's like 4 bathrooms in this hotel room. So I'm really hoping that we get to stay there. That'll have to be the new thing now. Hashtag we all rock. You could listen to Bill talk all day long, reading back through that's pretty funny. Beach Club. Oh, Old Key West. See, you're as bad as I am, Angela. You can't remember. When's your plans for? We are booked for October the 5th through the 12th, I believe. In fact, we've made some arrangements. We're trying to decide. That would be very cool. I would do that in a heartbeat, Al. We're trying to decide what night we're going to go to the Halloween party. There's like 4 parties the week we're there, and we've talked to some other people that may want to join us. So we just haven't got all the details hammered out yet. I know Josh and Jenna don't plan, super far out into the future, but I sent them a message. I haven't heard back from Josh yet if they've given any thought to when they're going to the Halloween party. Because while we're there, we, of course, want to do the live stream on Friday night with them if we have a chance. So if anybody's going to be there that week of October the 5th through the 12th, give us a shout. We'll make sure we can have a big meetup. And when we were down there last year in November, Bill, we voted you and Lawyer going to Disney. Are you going to pay for it, Al? I have done that tour, Ross, a couple of years ago. And not only does it include getting into the cab of the engine, you get to watch them fire it up, which is much more complicated. Even though it's diesel powered now and not wood or coal, firing a steam engine is a little more complicated than you would think. But we at some point would like to maybe do that tour again. I'm just having, Bill, your clock looks about 5 minutes fast. I've got 4:02, Al, so I'm guessing it's about 2 or 3 minutes fast. But you're right, very observant. Oh, have you really? I didn't know they. Well, I'm not surprised, but that they haven't ever heard of the Illinois Railway Museum. We had one here, and they got in a big fight with the city where it was located. And that wall clock was an anniversary present for my wife one year. I gave her the clock, and she cross-stitched all that face, and then I put it all together. Oh, Timothy, that's too bad. Well, TTA Dad, I was always told never to be late. Always be exactly on time. And what I would do is I would get there early. I'd just freak people out. I would go over to somebody's house and I would get there 5 minutes before I was supposed to be there. And I would sit in the car until it was exactly time to arrive. But then I'm a little weird. And any of you that have met me will probably understand that. Well, we've been at this for half an hour. Everybody having fun? If you're not early, you're late. Yeah, that's true, Al. I'm thinking about doing this maybe monthly, having a let's talk, picking a different subject. We've done hotels, we could do restaurants, we could do parks, we could do rides in the park. So kind of the way I'm feeling is I did that one live stream last month. It was like the third Friday. This is like the third Friday. No, that's not true, Al. So I'm kind of thinking this maybe the third Friday of every month for a while, and we'll see how it goes. I really ought to get with Dean and get that listed on the live place. I know we got a couple of things upcoming for us. Lori just signed up to volunteer like she does every year for the 500 festival. Her and Jennifer, my daughter, work downtown as information people for the 500 parade. And because of that, we get into the qualifications on poll day for free. And I will be doing a 2 or 3 hour live stream at the qualifications like I did last year. And did you watch those streams, Al? I can't remember. I guess I could go watch the replay and watch the chat. That was my other than a couple of short test streams, that was my first live stream, and I was just stunned at the reception. I had as many as 170 watching, which is a lot for anybody but Josh and Jenna. That was a lot of fun. And of course, I didn't have unlimited data on my phone at that point, so it cost me a little bit, but that won't be a problem this year. But anyway, we've been at this a half hour. I don't know how people do it for an hour. I can't think of enough things to talk about for an hour, I guess. Have to work on that. I really thought hotels would take longer. I wasn't sure I would get through them all in one afternoon. So we'll throw out a question to you guys. What's everybody's favorite hotel? I've told you mine. Toss up between Beach Club and Old Key West, and I think Old Key West probably is going to win. What's my favorite color? Money. I guess that's not Wilderness. I've never stayed at Wilderness Lodge, Ross. That's a gorgeous resort, and I look forward to doing it someday. Yay, Beach Club. Pops, really? Have you ever stayed in a deluxe, Timothy? Oh, yeah. I just watched a Tim Tracker video from a couple of years ago the other day of a tour of the Treehouse Villas, and they look cool. Well, Pop Century is pretty cool. We've never stayed there. When we had stayed at all the moderates, Pop Century wasn't there yet, and Art of Animation wasn't there yet. Although we can use our points, I think, at Art of Animation, so we may have to go there at some point. I like French Quarter better. The Mirage. Yeah, I don't think there's a Disney World at the Mirage, Al. In fact, I haven't been to Vegas since that hotel has been built. I just told you I haven't been out west for years. I was probably, oh, I don't know, 50 years ago since I've gone out west. Really ought to go to Disneyland again one of these days. You know, that's one thing I want to do, Ross. Sometime when I got a free minute down there, I want to run over to the Four Seasons and just look at the place. Maybe even have dinner there. I don't know. I've heard it's a fabulous hotel. You're from Vegas, Al? Well, I didn't know that about you. I am from, who remembers Every Neat and Pretty? Now on with the show. It was on all the bathroom stuff. I don't remember that, Angela. When was that? Be prepared. We may have a group there in early May, finalizing around. Oh, did that work out, Ross? Yeah, I guess I really, for those of you that don't know, Ross has a travel agency, Main Street Travel. And I'm going to be a travel agent for him. And I need to get going on all my training. I need to get a hold of some people and get that set up. Yeah, last time I was in Vegas, pretty much all it was the Strip. I can remember the Frontier and the Sands, a couple others. I guess, you know, Vegas hotels sort of count as hotels, just not Disney World. Bill, could you reach 5? We don't have phone books, Al. We haven't had phone books for probably 6 years here. But I could do it. If I had a phone book, I could do it in my radio announcer's voice. Right, Fremont Street. That's right, the old Strip. That's all Vegas was when I was there. Of course, I'm just an old fart, so you know. Older than dirt. Is your refrigerator running? No, it isn't. I caught it before it got away. This is going to turn into a comedy routine. Who's on first? So are all you guys all fired up for tonight going to going to Epcot with Taisha Jenna? Close that refrigerator door. The mayo is dressing. Oh, I hadn't heard that one. That one's pretty good. I have to remember that. Oh, Big Al, you just love everything. I bet you would love it even more if I would dress up in a country bear costume. Hey, I got a clip I really need to put up on the channel for Al. And I'm sure other people have shown it, but we were wandering through Frontierland one afternoon. And we have faces for radio. You got that right. Oh, I'm pulling for Kansas City. We hate the Patriots. And Big Al was out line dancing out in front of Country Bear. It was just really cool. And a couple others were out there too, but Big Al was the best. Country Bear Bill. I guess I'll have to dig, before we're going to the Halloween party, I'll have to dig out my Halloween costume. I'm going to go with the same thing I went as last time. Lori and I, we have T-shirts that we bought from Disney that look like ghost host outfits. Looks like Kansas City's pretty much unanimous. Yeah, being a Colts fan, anybody that can beat the Patriots is who we're rooting for. You put twigs on me, and I go to a show as an audience plant. Oh God, you really ought to go on tour, Ross. Oh, I got. I'll have to send you a message. Something interesting has come up that Lori and I are going to do. Hopefully, it won't be a conflict. Anyway, we've been at this for 40 some odd minutes. I think I'll get off here before I got to go out and do dishes and stuff and get the house cleaned up before my wife gets home and thinks, what have you been doing all day? Sitting around talking on YouTube? No, I mean, she understands. Anyway, thanks all of you for hanging out with me. We'll do this again next month. Anybody got any ideas on what we should talk about next time? Like Lou Mangello, I'm always all about food. Can we watch you sleep like smokes, man? I don't understand what that means, Al. All right, Ross. Anyway, if anybody has anything they would like to talk about, you can always send me a message. I guess that's all I got to say. This has been an odd production. Thanks for watching.